All right, time for 49ers news. Today was their only practice of the week ahead of the game against the Los Angeles Rams. It's a quick Sunday, Thursday turnaround. So the big question is, can Talanoa Hufanga, who really seemed to re-energize the defense, and Brock Purdy, who's been excellent ever since he entered the league in 2022, can these two lead an elite month of football for the 49ers? They played an elite game against the Chicago Bears. So there's one down, 4 to go. I think that the 49ers may have to win all 5 of these games to have a legitimate shot at making the postseason. But the next few days are going to be mighty, mighty interesting because some real momentum towards such a resurrection could truly, truly take hold. 49ers are 2-point favorites against the Rams. LA is going to be a tough out. They just beat the Bills. But I think that San Francisco, they've got a track record against the Rams in some of these huge games. I know that LA has won one of them in the NFC Championship game, but you go back to 2021, 2022, both of those seasons featured massive 49ers primetime wins at home against the Rams in the division race. Well, this is going to be another one of those games. But after this one, if the 49ers can beat the Rams, Sunday Night Football, the Green Bay Packers are traveling to Seattle. So the 49ers fans are going to have, and the 49ers themselves are going to have a chance to do some serious scoreboard watching. First, they have to beat the Rams, but then if Green Bay can beat Seattle, and let's see what the spread there is, I would think that Green Bay is favored in that game. By the way, the Packers, the Vikings, and the Lions are combined 28-3 against teams not named the Packers, Vikings, and Lions. So that bodes well for Green Bay and by extension the 49ers, but only if they can get a win of their own. It is Green Bay -3. So Green Bay is a 3-point favorite at 8-5 Seattle on Sunday night. But my main point is that there's still a lot of football left to be played, and this weekend is going to be very, very interesting. And if a couple results break in the 49ers' favor, starting with their game against the Rams, well, people will be wide awake. People are going to be wired by next week as the 49ers start getting ready for the Miami Dolphins. Anyway, this is another round of 49ers news. No practice today for Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, Isaac Guerendo, and Ben Barch. Barch is going to be headed to injured reserve probably tomorrow or Thursday. Typically, I think on these Thursday games, the roster moves are not made until the day of the game instead of the day before. Limited participant Dre Greenlaw, who actually appeared to break the 49ers down, the pre-practice huddle for San Francisco right after warm-up. So Greenlaw on track to make his return against the Rams on Thursday. Talked a lot about that from Mount Davidson yesterday. 49ers linebackers are playing well. In fact, the only linebacker who's not playing his best right now is Fred Warner, but he's also on a fractured ankle, and he is one of this team's leaders. In the update video that I posted from Levi's a little bit earlier, we got the Fred Warner's thoughts on this game against the Rams. He spoke today near his locker in Santa Clara. Yetur Gross-Matos, fresh off 3 sacks. That was a 3-sack performance for Yetur Gross-Matos against the Chicago Bears. And they had him mic'd up after, and Yetur was saying, playoffs are here, man. He was calling that game a playoff win. John Lynch today verified on KMBR that the 49ers indeed instructed their players to view last week and by extension this week as the playoffs. So you might have noticed an up in intensity. If the 49ers are going to get this done, they're going to have to string together several consecutive playoff wins. I mean, with a number 1 seed with a first-round bye, it takes 3 playoff wins to win a Super Bowl. Without a first-round bye, it takes 4 to win a Super Bowl. The 49ers just said, hell with it, let's win 9 in a row. Is that possible? It's possible. I think it's extremely unlikely, but that's what the 49ers are doing. And I'm just here to report on how the team is approaching things. So Yetur Gross-Matos called it a playoff win. And the 49ers are in a position where Mike said the mic might not be fully plugged in. So we're just checking, making sure. Yeah, I think it is. Oh, I know why it's echoey. Sorry, Mike. Is this better? There's a little bit of an echo. It should be gone now. I had a second mic on. That is a great way for me to plug the podcast with Margot and me, the Lombardi Lounge. The reason that I had a second mic plugged in is because Margot and I are going to be right here. Here's the second mic. It's off. I'm sure it's good now. Yeah, it's better. I just turned off the second mic. Margot and I are going to be recording with both microphones another episode of the Lombardi Lounge a little bit later tonight. Should drop tomorrow morning. So be sure to be ready for that. I'm sure Margot will have her post-game experience documented from the Waymo, the driverless ride. That video was pretty funny yesterday. And we'll talk about all of the past week. What was it? Week 14 of the NFL plus the 49ers win and everything else coming up. But Margot has been doing a great job with some of our videos as of late. We had the nice one today from the Polgus Water Temple down in Emerald Hills, talking about Brock Purdy, talking about Kyle Shanahan. That's part of 49ers news. You'll see it in a little bit. Where were we? It was echoing a little bit. I was talking about, somebody remind me where I was at. I think I lost my train of thought there. Roger is watching. Awesome. What's up, Roger? How's cold water swimming these days? It's doing well. I'm going to swing by Stanford Masters at some point. Roger swims at Stanford Masters. Good guy out there. Best Masters practices you could ever go through. I mean, it's the nicest pool, nicest outdoor pool in the world, or one of them down at Stanford. But to let Roger know, I'm saying hi to him right now. The cold water swimming is going well. Temperature's down to about 53, 54 degrees. You feel like $1,000,000 when you get out of that water. Yesterday, Oliver and I, my friend over at the Dolphin Club, we swam outside the cove, just about 10, 20 yards to see the sunset. It was dark on our swim back. Like, you're having to trust your instincts as you swim back. You see the city skyline, it's all lit up in front of you. So that's cool, but it is a little unnerving. You know, you're out in the middle of the bay. There's a lot of wildlife in the bay. I mean, this is not a pool, and you can't see anything except for the skyline in front of you. So you're like, okay, I'll swim toward the Ghirardelli sign, aim a little bit to the left. Hopefully I'll end up at the pier to get into the Dolphin Club, but it is going well. All right, where were we at? 49ers have a track record of getting right after the bye week. Yeah, they do. I think this guy right here is trying to say that I was wrong. Well, did the 49ers not get right last week? Maybe they didn't, but to me that looked like they were getting right after the bye week. Their best performance has come after the bye. They do have a track record of getting right after the bye. In 2021, that happened. In 2022, that happened. In 2023, that happened. I mean, guys, if something happens over and over and over again, it's a track record. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen every year, but any intelligent person will look at past results and they'll say, okay, that may be a trend that the 49ers are likely to repeat in the future. It's not a slam dunk because every single season is different, but the track record has been there. And I think at this point, when we look at how the 49ers played against the Chicago Bears with the opportunity in front of them against the Rams, there's an indication that they might be turning it around. They also could be a little too late for the 49ers, but they've run into a ton of very bad breaks this year. They still have the second highest yardage differential in football, meaning yards gained versus yards allowed. So clearly this team is doing a lot right. Unfortunately, they've been doing a lot wrong at critical junctures, and they've gotten a lot of bad breaks, both on the field and off the field, that I think have fueled some of that negative performance. An exhausted team coming into 2024, but the 49ers will continue to fight through it. Antonio says, hopefully Dre Greenlaw will play on Thursday. I think it is indeed trending in that direction. I think I was going through the injury report, right? Yeah, I was talking about Yetur Gross-Matos and 3 sacks against the Chicago Bears. So, I mean, Caleb Williams was not that hard to sack in this game on some of those. He's the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. But Yetur with 3 sacks, playoff mode for the 49ers. Right now they need that. I mean, very badly. No Nick Bosa. Once Nick Bosa returns, Yetur is the 3rd defensive end for this team. Leonard Floyd had 2 sacks against the Chicago Bears. So the 49ers do have some edge rushing talent that is starting to find its footing. Obviously, getting Bosa back, if they could somehow do that for this Rams game, would help a lot. But if they don't have him, well, I think last week showed some of the formula of how to win. The offense controlled the game flow, and then the defense lean into the secondary. It's the secondary that has been the strong suit for the 49ers this season. So Yetur limited, Malik Mustafa limited, D. Winters limited, Demetrius Flanagan-Foles limited for the 49ers. Today, we got the best French onion soup in San Francisco. There it is. Chez Maman. Location on Potrero Hill. That's the OG spot. There's also one in Hayes Valley. But if you want to be teleported to Nice, which is right near the French-Italian border, and you want to have, it's like French-Italian hybrid cuisine, but obviously trends toward French. If you want to have the best French onion soup in San Francisco, you can go to Chez Maman. They put that into high heat in the oven, and it is very, very good. By the way, Javon Hargrave took a pay cut for the 2025 season. Base salary down from $19.9 million to just $2.1 million, which is the veteran minimum. None of that money was guaranteed, giving the 49ers leverage in the situation. They didn't outright cut Javon Hargrave because they've restructured his deal, so there is some cap hit that has been pushed forward into the future. They don't want it all to accelerate now if they do plan to cut him. They wouldn't want to do that until a post-June 1st designation that keeps the cap hits in the future next season. But I think right now they're just biding their time. This was a no-brainer kind of maneuver, and now they're going to see if Javon Hargrave can come back from the torn tricep, and then they'll decide how to build the roster next season. Kyle Shanahan says that he plans on Hargrave being a Niner, but I think that this move gives the 49ers a lot of optionality in many different ways. They now project to have over $60 million in cap space in 2025. And again, this is possible because nothing had been guaranteed to Javon Hargrave beyond 2024. So that's some of the 49ers news from today. Make sure you're checking out the San Francisco Standard and memberships. This is what the new trend is going to be. It already is. A lot of people signed up today. Tim Kawakami and I were doing our San Francisco Standard Live. So check out the San Francisco Standard memberships. It's fsfstandard.com/memberships. And now we will take you to the Pulgas Water Temple, where we did talk about the 49ers, Brock Purdy, and Kyle Shanahan. Sophistication of the 49ers offense was on full display in this past win over Chicago. Brock Purdy to Isaac Guerendo. So I had an idea. On the way home from Levi's Stadium up to San Francisco, stopped here at the Pulgas Water Temple. Built in 1938 to commemorate the sophistication of the water system that comes from the Sierra Nevada and ends in San Francisco, which has some of the cleanest water for any big city in the world. 49ers, with the sophistication that they operated with, it defied what a lot of people were talking about online earlier this season. They said that Brock Purdy could not run any checks in the offense, that he wasn't able to change the play at the line of scrimmage. Well, there was a certain play to Isaac Guerendo that definitely defied that. 49ers started out under center. Brock Purdy made sure that they moved away from what I thought was a run into the shotgun, and Isaac Guerendo was set up for a big, big catch.
Yeah, we just got into a play where basically JJ and Isaac were in one-on-one situations, and I liked really just the matchup with him on a backer, and then he slipped him inside and went. Obviously, there was a guy in my face, so I sort of had to throw it up pretty early, similar to like the Tampa Bay one with Christian. So similar route there, but that's just what happened. I put the ball up, and he went under and got it, and was a big gain, man-to-man coverage, and was a situation that we wanted to be in.
So you heard Brock Purdy talking about the throw to Christian McCaffrey against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm so glad that he brought that up because there are so many similarities between that and what we saw to Isaac Guerendo against Chicago. And both plays illustrate so many of the intricacies, so much of the sophistication at play at all levels of the 49ers offense. First, just go back to the basics for Kyle Shanahan. He wants skill position adaptability, positionless skill positions. Wants his running backs to be as good as receivers. Well, Christian McCaffrey is one of the greatest players in college football history. Did a whole lot of damage in the receiving game for Stanford, which is really near here, really near 280 in the Pulgas Water Temple. And Isaac Guerendo was a receiver entering college at Wisconsin. He converted to running back, but whenever you can get somebody that runs a 4-3 with receiving skills, working against the linebacker, the 4-3 for Isaac Guerendo really showed up when he ran right past Jack Sanborn. So whenever you can do that, you do it. And Kyle Shanahan has been able to get those matchups because of the players that he does have at the running back position. First, McCaffrey, and now Isaac Guerendo. Second, beyond the schematic advantages of being able to do that, you've got to have the quarterback who can actually pull the levers at the line of scrimmage. The play against Chicago was supposed to be a run. Brock Purdy was under center, but Brock Purdy recognizes that he's got man coverage, so he makes the call at the line of scrimmage. That blows up the narrative that Brock Purdy can't change the play at the line of scrimmage because he changes it from a run under center to a shotgun pass. And that shotgun pass is obviously the play that allows Isaac Guerendo to take advantage of the matchup against Jack Sanborn. So those are two pillars that the 49ers needed. The third pillar is execution. And execution from the quarterback position is so much easier said than done. Brock Purdy got absolutely drilled both times against Tampa and against Chicago. Against Tampa, there was a breakdown on the left side. It might have been Trent Williams' fault. This time, against the Chicago Bears, it was Spencer Burford's fault. And Brock Purdy, despite getting hit, was able to get the throw off. Now, this is where things get really, really intricate. And this is where you have to have a quarterback who has an elite processor. If you have to release the ball sooner, you're going to have to change the trajectory of the throw in order for it to reach its destination at the appropriate time. It's like watching Apollo 13 when the spacecraft is damaged and they have to make all those calculations on the fly. The burn has to be X amount of seconds. They got to shut it down to just the right amount of time or they're going to float off into space. Well, when a quarterback gets blown up ahead of schedule, that throw is going to flutter off into space. It can turn into an interception if he does not make the appropriate changes to trajectory, and he has to do that in a split second. So in both cases, the McCaffrey case and the Guerendo case, Brock Purdy decided to go with the rainbow throw. Puts more elevation on the football. Takes longer for it to reach its desired spot. And in both cases, the technical know-how of his receivers, McCaffrey and Guerendo, is necessary to run under the football and make the catch. Easier said than done when you're wearing a helmet and you don't know where the throw is until you're looking up and the ball is up in the air. So all of this, I mean, it leads to a beautiful final product, but I think we need to appreciate just how much goes into it, which is why the Pulgas Water Temple is a great spot. This is the final product. This is the water that comes in from Hetch Hetchy, which is a valley that supposedly once was almost like Yosemite. It rivaled Yosemite in beauty in the Sierra Nevada. They dammed it up in the 1930s, and now you have an aqueduct that travels all the way from the Sierra Nevada here to Crystal Springs Reservoir in the San Francisco Peninsula. San Francisco's got some of the cleanest water of any big city in the world. And this right here is a display of it. This is the Pulgas Water Temple. It's a shrine, really, to the sophistication of a system that works. And we know that Kyle Shanahan has a system that works offensively. Number one offense in football in 2022, number one offense in football in 2023. This season, they've obviously been a little bit off their game, but they're coming off a game where they were definitely on point. And I think that the throw to Guerendo illustrated that better than almost anything. Moving forward, the Rams, this is not a great defense that the 49ers are facing. The Bears actually had a better pass defense than the Rams. San Francisco, even without Deebo Samuel back in week 3 in LA, was able to have its way for most of the game against the Rams. It was mainly Jawan Jennings in that one. No Christian McCaffrey there. Isaac Guerendo wasn't yet ready to go at a very high clip for the 49ers. We'll see if Guerendo is healthy for Thursday's game. It's a big question mark this week. I think if he's not good to go, that's big trouble for the 49ers because those running backs who can catch the football out of the backfield are so coveted for San Francisco. They have abused the Rams in years past because the Rams do not have great linebackers. So that's the one area where the 49ers have typically had an advantage over McVay coach teams, and we'll see if they continue to have it against the Rams coming up on Thursday. But just in general, we look forward to 2025 when Christian McCaffrey will be back, when Guerendo will have another year under his belt. I do wonder if the 49ers even bring back Jordan Mason at the restricted free agent tender amount of about $5 million next year, because the adaptability that Brock Purdy showed on the play where he did throw to Isaac Grendo is so important for the 49ers offense to have to work at full strength. When that is there, this can be the top offense in football. Shanahan has led the way when it comes to this kind of adaptability, and Brock Purdy, I think, has led the way when it comes to executing at the line of scrimmage and leveraging the multiple options that come. Why don't we take a walk here to see the full breadth of the Pulgas Water Temple? Head up to the very, very eastern end of it and get that money shot here at sunset. It really is something that's befitting of a sophisticated system. That's what the 49ers offense is when it is on point. We'll see if that happens again on Thursday. There it is, the patch. The water supervisor there, the ranger. He gave me one of the patches. That was cool. That's Crystal Springs with the dam, San Francisco water. How cool is that? That's got to become a popular logo at some point now. Anyway, that was talk. Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, 49ers sophistication. You learn a little bit about that water system and you just geek out. Just so cool. I mean, what do you have? 6-7 million people in the Bay Area, a lot in the city of San Francisco, and you have such clean water. But the way that and I guess the pipes, one of the pipe routes that's coming from the Sierra Nevada, where the water is untouched, all the way from the Sierra Nevada to the peninsula in Crystal Springs, goes right by Levi's Stadium. So how about that? This show is brought to you by BetterHelp. What's your favorite part of the holiday season? I love the football. I think it's great that football mixes with everything, but the chance to watch some of the football with family. And, we all should sit down, slow down over the course of the next few weeks and try to be thankful for some of that kind of stuff. But if there's anything that is giving you trouble and you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapist anytime for no additional charge. Find comfort this December with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Lombardi Lounge today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Lombardi Lounge. That was fun. A lot of 49ers news, including the French onion soup from Chez Maman. One more time, Porcharo Hill. I think this is a good way to finish. Everybody, thank you for joining. It's been a fun Tuesday. It's a quick week. We've gone through all the news, and now we wonder, are the 49ers going to be able to get this thing done against the Los Angeles Rams on Thursday? Because if the 49ers do get this done against the Los Angeles Rams on Thursday, then it's going to turn into an intense weekend of scoreboard watching for San Francisco fans. And then it's like that rocket ship emoji. This could really take off entering December. It's going to be on Talanoa Hufanga. It's going to be on Brock Purdy. Hufanga brought the communication to the defense. I asked Nick Sorensen about it today. He said, oh, yeah, Talanoa has been awesome. Like the second they inserted him to the lineup, that's an all-pro in 2022. That was making sure the 49ers were aligned. They went from one of the worst run defenses in the NFL over the past 2 weeks leading up to that game to one of the best this past weekend. They outgained the Bears 319-4 in the first half. So statistically, it might have been the most dominant half of the Shanahan era. Now you've got to do it against a better Rams team. But it's not a perfect Rams team by any stretch. The offense is a lot better with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, who weren't around in week 3 against the 49ers. It was Tutu Atwell, who's maybe the best receiver, the most damaging receiver for the 49ers then. The Rams have more weapons now on offense and an offensive line that's more intact. But defensively, this is still a team that's ranked in the bottom half of the league. And the 49ers didn't have much trouble moving the ball against the Rams. They would have won that game despite everything that went wrong if Ronnie Bell had just caught that deep pass from Brock Purdy. So I still find this to be very winnable because I think the 49ers can outscore the Rams. Kind of like the Bills scored a lot against the Rams, but weren't able to outscore them because they gave up 44. So you've got to limit the offense. And then the final key that I can give you is the 49ers cannot have a special team screw up. They let the Rams convert a fake punt last time. Well, the Rams also blocked the punt and returned it for a touchdown against the Bills. You can't give them a freebie on special teams. That phase of the game is going to have to come through for the 49ers. Remember that. We're going to have much more tomorrow. Talk to you soon.